of a holy king, pale ashes of the house of Lancaster, a bloodless remnant of that royal blood. Be it lawful that I invocate thy ghost, to hear the lamentations of poor Anne, wife to thy Edward, to thy slaughtered son, stabbed by the self-same hands that made these wounds.
I mean, she's the mystery, and because what makes her do what she does, that is to say, agree to marry a man that she regards as a loathsome toad, and reacts to when she first sees him, in terms of revulsion.
And how unfit for any place but hell.
Yes, one place else. You'll have me name it.
Some dungeon.
Your dungeon.
I'll rest beside the chamber where thou liest.
So will it till I lie with you.
As far as his seduction of Anne is concerned, I've always found it impossible to speak with absolute conviction and certainty about what Anne's motives and desires are in that scene, because they're almost too horrendous to contemplate. It's clear she can't stand the sight of Richard. She's mourning the death of a husband she loved. It's clear that despite Richard's professions of love for her, he is thinking in purely self-serving terms about how best to cement his claim to the throne. And to believe that Anne deep down really loves Richard is a little bit frightening.
He that bereft thee of thy husband did so to help thee to a better husband. Why dost thou spit at me?
What it were mortal poison for thy sake.
Never came poison from so sweet a place.
Never hung poison on such a foul toad.
Perhaps Anne is a version of us. Anne's seduction by Richard is a little bit similar to our seduction, that we know we're meant to hate him, but there's something about his bravura, command of theatre, his ability to perform, that drives to the heart of the pleasure of theatre itself.
Lo, here I lend this which thou art pleased to hide in this true breast. I, with the soul forth that adored thee, I lay it naked to thy healthy stroke, and humbly beg the death upon my knee. Nay, do not pause, for it was I that killed King Henry. But it was your beauty that provoked me. Nay, don't dispatch. It was I that stabbed young Edward, but it was the heavenly face that set me off. Take the blade again, or take up me.
No, arise, dissembler, though I wish thy death. I will not be the executioner.
In Richard III, there is no equality at all. Like, Richard just comes in there and she's already almost worn down because of him killing her husband, and he completely wears her down more. So by that point, there really is no.
And you think that's that could be Richard's desire for complete power?
I remember that it's not even there is a sexual desire for her, but also it's what he gains from her.
It's what he gains.
In the sense of power, title, a child.
She's like, his lust for her is a benefit almost. Yeah. He's just using it.
I would I knew thy heart.
Figured in thy tongue.
I fear me both are false.
Then never man was man true.
Well on. Put up your sword.
Say then my peace is made.
That shall you know hereafter.
Shall I live in hope?
One option is to sort of regard her as in a state of shock, right? And therefore not really fully in control of her own actions. It's not so much that she's won over, right? That she really ever loves him, is that she just doesn't seem to have a course of action to follow, right? Where is she going? And so it's this sort of unthinking passivity in the face of his overwhelming power and determination. It's not that she loves him, it's just that, she doesn't have anything much else going for her. The question, another question to ask really is, are we convinced? Does Shakespeare do a good enough job in giving her a credible motivation for this 180 degree turn?
Amen, I hope so.
Vouchsafe to ask me.
take is much to give.
In that moment, you know, he has like a long-term end is that he wants the throne, he wants to secure that and everything's possible, but maybe in that moment he did have a desire for her. And you know, maybe in that moment, past like all the demented, like, things he's done, sociopathy he's done, and like the pain that man feels, like maybe in that moment there is some sort of mutual attraction that is almost disgustingly beautiful.
Look how this ring encompasses my finger, and now the rest encloses my whole heart to both of and divine. For divers unknown reason, I beseech you, grant me this book.
With all my heart, and as much it joys me so to see her become so penitent.
Bid me farewell.
It is more than you deserve, but since you teach me how to flatter you, imagine I have said farewell.
He's an incredibly charismatic character, and and as you've seen, in the more Richards that you see, either on stage or in film, there's a lot of ways to play this role. But the character himself, in the Shakespeare version, is sort of an actor and chameleon himself.
And Richard is obviously lusting after her for this idea of, you know, to get the throne, and well, because it's a woman, and he's demented, like he's been like, I don't know if you could just think of his childhood, like this deformed man, like growing up, like as a teenager, like everyone else is like, you know, getting what they want, and he can't. He's not pretty. He's not good looking. He can't get the woman in this moment. He has a position of power where he can, you know, use his, I don't know, his sadness and the way he looks and the way he can manipulate other people. He can use that to his advantage and get what he wants. He could get the, I don't know, the pretty girl and the throne, and he sees, you know, maybe for the first time things will work out the way I want.
Was ever woman in this human world? Was ever woman in this human world? I'll have her, but I'll not keep her long. When I that killed her husband and his father, and yet to take her heart and her heart's extremest hate, and yet to win her all the world to nothing.
One of the more or less open, dirty secrets of Richard III is we love to hate him, but we also love him.
But the plays can only work to the degree that they cause us to identify with the desires of the characters, even if we recognize at the moment that we are in the tangles of identification that the desires are wrong.
We don't simply encounter them as sort of strange relics from a bygone age that we can't relate to. There's something in these plays that still has the power to speak to us, question us, shake us, unsettle us.
We